Hey guys, what's up? It's Melody, and today we're going to be talking about practical art. I thought it would be a great video to film because on this channel we focus a lot on practicality and also making things aesthetically pleasing. And really in nature or in anybody else, everything combines. Practical and artistic, it's really hard to separate the two, but for purposes of this video I'm going to try to make it as practical as possible. And so sometimes when I'm painting or when I'm just writing, for instance, for myself, then there's no pressure because it's just flowing. So that's the way art should be. It should be not a perfectionistic thing, but just something that is you. And even if it comes out a way that you didn't expect or a way that maybe isn't perfect to you, that's okay because it still represents you. And so you're putting a piece of yourself, a piece of your soul, as it were, into your art. And how much better if you make it extra practical because you get to look at it all the time. So the very first thing is the absolutely most practical thing of all, and that's makeup. It brightens up the face. It adds a little bit of color. It adds youthful radiance. It does have a lot of practicality to me, and you guys know that I really like this organic makeup brand. I've talked about it a lot because I used it ever since it came out, and it has no fragrance. I love things like that are just, it's so idealistic because it has everything that matters in it to me. So I really like this makeup brand. This is a lip to cheek, so you can use it on both your lips and cheeks for a very radiant and youthful glow. And I also use this palette, and palettes are very artistic. The reason why I like this palette is because it has some bronzes, so you can look very like a glistening goddess, you know, that look. It's a very good look. And then they have a lot of neutrals and then a smoky eye look. You have some smoky colors in here too, but what I really like about the palette is that it has names that, you know how makeup brands, they always name things, and there are some really raunchy names or something like that. I feel like the name of this palette is exactly me. It was like a Melody was in the boardroom. Funny girl, sweetheart, rebel, leader. Those are really great names, that's what I gotta say. Some of these palettes are really bad. I don't know who comes up with these names because I'd run out. That's all I gotta say. I'd run out after a couple. Like, that's all we got, guys. There's also hair dye. There's hair dye that's temporary. So you can do blue. I've been wanting to do blue hair just for a day, or pink hair. You are definitely letting people know you're open-minded, which I'd rather be camouflaged. I don't want people on the street to know anything about me. So that's why I have this bland look. But the next thing is, and you know what they say is that a disguise, there is always some truth to a disguise. One other thing I want to say is that wintertime is the perfect time to cut your hair because hair gets dry in the wintertime, so it's the perfect time to do a short haircut. But these are just all when it comes to beauty, art in the terms of beauty. But we're going to move on into even more practical than beauty. Now I'm going to be having a whole video on soap, on how to make soap, but you know you can be very creative. When my grandma used to make soap, she'd always put little sparkles in it, and a lot of the soaps would be clear so they would look ethereal. But you know, I want to make a chamomile soap because my skin is a little bit sensitive, and that's probably because I work too much and eat too many donuts. Let's be honest, everything's connected. I'm sure it's not a coincidence, but I'm working on it. But chamomile is really great to put in your soap. And a tip I have is that if you have really bad cramps, you have your heating pad, you take a leave, and it's not kicking in. If it's anything like me, 30 minutes go by and I'm still feel like I'm dying. I'm writing my last will and testament to pat on the floor. If you're like that, then chamomile tea is the best. It kicks in instantaneously. In fact, I don't even use a heating pad anymore because chamomile tea does better than anything combined. So I take my medicine and then I drink chamomile tea. I'm sure if you work out and eat very, very well, you probably hardly have any cramps. But for the rest of us, regular humans, then there's chamomile tea. But this I'm going to infuse with olive oil, because I'm trying to make a bare minimal soap, guys. It's hard to find a natural soap that is also good for sensitive skin. And second of all, I gotta keep my hands busy. So this is a great project for the winter time when you're stuck indoors. But we're gonna have a video on that, so don't make it without me. And then you can also put roses. You know, I have a video on how to infuse your bath water with roses. Well, you can infuse your soap with roses, rose fluid, rose petals, and rose water. There are plenty of ways in regards to health and in regards to soap that you can infuse artistic mind or creativity. And the very next way is to make your letters a little bit more interesting. So I have this Martha Stewart puncher, and it basically creates a lace border around your letter, so that, maybe I shouldn't do this on camera, basically makes a lace border so that your letters are super pretty looking at the bottom. So I just made one punch, but you can obviously go all the way down, and it has a marking for where you stopped so that it will look good. You know what I'm saying? It's going to look uniform all the way around. It's not going to look jagged in any way. But basically you can put a lacy pattern and also use a fountain pen. And when you use fountain pens, you can use different color inks. There are absolutely gorgeous inks like gold inks, and gold ink is perfect for fall because it glistens and stuff like that. So why not take your letters to the next notch? You can also make little hearts and things and cut out those little hearts and put them in the letter. This is just a thing to have fun. I mean, if you're going to be doing it already, why not spice it up? You don't have to do all these things. You can just pick a couple, and then it will add a little extra pizzazz. When it comes to letters, you can also put dried flowers in letters. You can put string around the letters to make them nice. There are so many ways to infuse your personality into the letter. A way to have a creative outlet and also to express your individuality, which are both really rewarding in and of itself. And I forgot to mention this, but these stamps I got on Amazon, you can buy stamps on Amazon, okay? No more will I be going to the post, but that's beside the point. These stamps have butterflies on them, which I think is perfect for stamps because although I'm not normally a butterfly person, you know, butterflies are very social, so that is perfect for a stamp because what is a stamp for? You're socializing or paying taxes, but the IRS could use a little bit of color in their life as well. Very next thing is bookmarks. My mom makes these really cute snowman and penguin bookmarks. She gives me them where she stamps them. She has all the scrapbooking gear. Obviously, I'm a minimalist, so I don't have that many craft things, but we made a video on how to make the wall art right behind me using string, and there are so many ways you can use string, and there's sewing project and things like that, and we also made a video on how to make bookmarks that are extremely practical. So they're basically corner bookmarks. So you can paint them so they look super nice, and they just go right on the corner, so they take up no page space, and they're super minimalist, and they take no time at all to make. So that is practical magic. Practical art. And the last thing is painting, and I really like these Japanese paints because they're very high quality, and so they're a real pleasure to use because I don't have that much time to be creating, if I'm honest, because I'm usually working or in my mind. So the times that I am creating, I really like it when the makeup is soft as powder and these colors are just like silk to work with, and that's how I feel about this makeup palette, this watercolor palette, and it's absolutely beautiful. And you can make wall art, obviously. You can just paint, get things out, get thoughts out, get down dreams. You can even paint your dreams that you have, but you can also, if you're into sewing, you can draft out the dresses or the other things that you're going to be sewing. You can draft it out, get pictures on Pinterest and pin them, or draft them out with these paints beforehand so you have a really clear idea of what you're trying to achieve or what you're working with. But there's one more. The very last thing is when you're writing in your notebook and you're creating every month or so, you're creating a new page where you have a section for appointments and you have a section for your wish list and then a section for your immediate goals. Because I keep my schedule very basic because I don't do well with sticking to schedules rigorously. I like to keep my hands busy. I don't like to be micromanaging every section, and it will just be a guilt trip, and I'm not trying to guilt trip my future self. So therefore, when you're writing down in your notebook, then you can make it as elaborate as possible. Don't think of it as something to just write practical. You can make it so beautiful with markers and watercolors and really go all out to make your schedule and use ink and just make it extra elaborate and extra beautiful. And every time you use it or every time you look at it, it'll be such a joy because you see all your favorite colors. So for me, my schedule is always blue because aqua and baby blue are just my absolute favorite colors. And so every time I come to my schedule or every time I glance over when I'm at my desk, it just looks so beautiful in blue, and it makes me want to get to it. Also, yellow, you know how post-its are usually yellow? Yellow can spark creativity and yellow can spark activity. So that's a good color for your to-do list, actually, yellow is. So yellow and blue are really great colors. Blue is kind of calming, so maybe it's not the best color, but red is the color of activity. We got that going for us in this video, which is nice because this is a very active video. So I hope that you will give some of these arts and crafts a try in your practical life. Again, we'll have the video on soap making, and I'll have plenty other resources in the down bar, so check them out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't. Definitely subscribe, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching.